Kolena Agwiji.
It's good to be here, John.
I've heard that a dark cloud has fallen on the white path you were walking. It is good that you have turned your thoughts to the Cherokee. It was caused by Yahuwah. We are in trouble, Raven, and Yahuwah has sent you to give us counsel. My house is yours. My people are yours. Come, rest with us.
Shalom. Call Halayim La Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakat HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. It's Tawab Par Yah from the Providence, Rhode Island camp. And this is going to be part 7 of the Genesis 49 series. We're going to be going into GAD. And the purpose of this series is to edify whomever may want to know who they are according to the Bible, as well as who their brother is, as well as who the enemy is, because he will be mentioned. And then you saw the short clip that I played in the beginning of this video. All right, you had a Gadite who was welcoming in an Edomite with open arms. All right, and in the name of Yahweh, he said that's who caused the change of heart to the Edomite. So that clip showing you that, in fact, North American Indians are indeed Israelites. Because here it is in 2022, you got individuals claiming that all 12 tribes consist of only so-called Negroes. So with this video, we're going to debunk that claim in the spirit of power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And Lord willing, it's edifying. All right, but as well as, we're not going to be going into every little bit and piece of history because there's so much. We're going to just skim through some things, and again, Lord willing, it's edifying. So this is Genesis 49 and 19. It says GAD. GAD, all right, translates to troop, all right, known to be the North American Indians. GAD is a very warlike tribe. Not to say that the rest of the tribes are not warriors, but GAD specifically, very warlike, all right, because when you had Esau come over to the Americas, they gave Esau hell once they realized that Esau wasn't that sheep that he portrayed himself to be. He was indeed a wolf. Okay. Matter of fact, let's just real quick go to Deuteronomy 33 and verse 20. It says, and of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. So Gad, he that enlargeth Gad. Gad got a whole lot of land, man. When they came over here to the Americas, all right. Let me see. Let's grab this precept. Showing you that the Northern Kingdom came here to the Americas. 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. So yeah, man, the Northern Kingdom was, taken captive by the Assyrians. All right, taken into Assyria. Says verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. And that further country is talking about, the eastern part of the world where never mankind dwelt, because no man was dwelling here on the eastern side of the hemisphere. Verse 43, Salakia. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsaref. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to this Jewish encyclopedia. All right, going into the 10 tribes here. All right. We're going to skim through it here. It says, according to the Bible, Tiglath-Pileser, or Shalmaneser, after the defeat of Israel, transported the majority of the inhabitants of the northern kingdom to Assyria, and placed them in the Halal and Habor on the stream of Gazan, and in the towns of the Media. Um, we're gonna drop down here. It says, if the 10 tribes have disappeared, the literal fulfillment of the prophecies would be impossible. If they have not disappeared, obviously they must exist under a different name. Right, yeah, they exist under names as Native Americans, Guatemalans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, all right, so on and so forth, man, Cubans, all right. It says the numerous attempts at identification that have been made constitute some of the most remarkable curiosities of literature. In the Apocrypha, it is presumed that the 10 tribes still exist as tribes. Thus, Tobit is stated to be of the tribe of Naphtali, and the testaments of the 12 patriarchs assume their continuous existence. In the fourth book of Esdras, which is second Esdras, all right, we just read it, it is declared that the 10 tribes were carried by Hosea, king in the time of Shalmaneser, to the Euphrates at the narrow passages of the river, whence they went on for a journey of a year and a half to a place called Arsareth. So what is that place called Arsareth? So let's look this up. Arsareth. As it reads, the name of the land beyond the great river. Talking about what is that? The land beyond the great river. It's going to explain what that land is. It says, far away from the habitation of men, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration. According to 2nd Esdras 13, Columbus identified America with this land. So here it is. You have the 10 tribes. They went to the Americas. Okay. So let's go back let's go back to Deuteronomy 33 so we can finish off that point. Then we go back to Genesis 49. All right. Deuteronomy 33 and 20. And of Gad he said, blessed be he that enlargeth Gad. He dwelleth as a lion, and teareth the arm with the crown of the head. So when it says teareth the arm, all right, well, there's a thing called blood covenants. And Gad, they would slice the forearm or the thumb, and join it together with an individual who would do the same thing, and they'll make a covenant with each other. They would call themselves blood brothers. All right. And now when it reads with the crown of the head, that's talking about the war bonnet that Gad would wear. All right. So going back real quick. Yeah. Matter of fact, we could use this window. War bonnet. Okay. Oh nah, I ain't shopping. I ain't shopping for one of them. Find a good picture. Let's try to find a good one. But it's a good one right here. It's a war bonnet. See it? And can't see it that clearly, but shit, man. Hey, man, very warlike. This means war, man. All right, scroll through a few more images, and these are Israelites, man. If you can see, look at the fringes, which is an Israelite custom. All right, we played it in the beginning of the video of this lesson. The name of Yahweh was being called upon. Right, they were actually calling on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, you have brothers, the beloved brothers and elders that have gone into these things. All right, if I remember, Lord willing, I'll actually drop the link of those videos that brothers actually were going into that. All right, so let's go back, Genesis 49. and verse 19. Genesis 49, verse 19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him. What is that troop that had overcome him? That's talking about the U.S. cavalry, all right? These Edomites, all right? Let's go a little bit into the history. Let's see. We'll start here. All right, this is the LatinLibrary.com, and again, if I remember, I'll throw these links in the description box or the comment board, you know. But this is the LatinLibrary.com for North American Indian timeline, 1492 to 1999. All right, so we're gonna start here at 1492. From their nakedness, Columbus inferred the native people to be an inferior race. All right, so what's that word inferior mean? We'll look it up real quick. It says lower in rank, status, or quality. A person lower than another in rank, status, or ability. So right off the jump, this damn devil, this Edomite, Christopher Columbus, all right, Spaniard, off the jump, thought that these people that he saw were lesser. Okay, well, lesser than him. Let's keep reading. It says Columbus wrote of the Indians he encountered. They all go around as naked as their mothers bore them, and also the women. However, he noted that they could easily be commanded and made to work, to sew, and to do whatever might be needed, to build towns and be taught to wear clothes and adopt our ways. So he had the intention of, putting them in slavery, forcing them into what? Christianity. Says, although Columbus also wrote that they are the best people in the world and above all the gentlest. Right, you goddamn right, we the best people in the world. Your Heavenly Father has set it up from the very beginning that we will be the best people in the world. We walk, talk, jump, run better, groove better, move better. All right. He says above all the gentlest. And you had an example of that in the beginning of this lesson when Gad was introducing that Edomite with open arms. Let him know, come rest with us. Okay. Says his record of the first encounter between Europeans and New World Indians was filled with accounts of enslavement, murder, and rape. And here it is. You got these damn devils. They made it seem like if the Native American Indians were the ones that were savages. All right. That word Indian means savage in itself. All right. Matter of fact, with that being said, let's go to another source here. This is gorehistory.com. All right. It says, whose manifest destiny? The federal government and the American Indians. All right. So there was a time called the Manifest Destiny. And it says here, during the era of Manifest Destiny, Indian people across the continent continued to be the object of stereotypes. Savage men and women who had no legitimate rights to land. Land they could not and would not tame for profit. Those stereotypes have been slow to diminish, as Western novelist Larry McMurtry explains. Thanks largely to the movies, the lies about the West are more potent than the truth. We can really see how potent these stereotypes of Indians and the Wild West were in the short video. All right. So, actually going to play this short video. All right.
They fought savagely, for they were a primitive people, and self-preservation is a primitive instinct.
They say history is written by the winners, and that's surely the case when it comes to the way Native Americans have been portrayed in the movies. Now, we all know that every movie needs a villain, but during the last 100 years, more than 4,000 movies have cast Indians in that role, depicting them as bloodthirsty savages.
Scenes of peaceful wagon trains being attacked by marauding Indians were common plot devices in Westerns.
I grew up at a time when John Ford and John Wayne and Randolph Scott et al. were massacring Indians with single shots.
Turn around, Dirt.
Yeah, that was in the late 40s, and I was in elementary school in Vallejo, California. Because of those movies, my brother and I were the only Indians in the neighborhood and in town and in school. We had to fight our way out of those theaters.
Well, as children, that's who we saw. So we never saw our own image in its reality. And so we had to create our own image. From the time we were growing up, to be strong and proud of who we were was a joke. You couldn't do it.
Indians run their dot-gum, dot-blasted sheep over our land just like they owned it.
Why don't they stay on the reservation where they belong?
My son asked me this one time. He goes, "Where are the Indians, Mom? Why don't they have them in this movie?" And I was like, well, maybe that's when they put us on the res.
Motion pictures in the United States have been made for white audiences to make money and to portray history. I don't think it's fair to say just to make money, but it is fair to say that the white audience has predominated.
The white men of the West cannot and will not recognize the testimony of those Indians who slaughtered, massacred, and ambushed our parents.
The tribes of the North meet at River Rock to once and forever wipe out all white.
Well, I think that the bottom line is they weren't looking for an accurate portrayal. They weren't trying to tell a Native American story. They were trying to tell a Euro-American story.
Man doesn't forget easily when his wife and kids were butchered.
Cheyenne, wasn't it?
Cheyenne, Apache, Blackfoot Sioux, they're vicious killers, all of them. They ain't even human.
Not only was the portrayal of the Native American unrealistically negative, but the portrayal of the white man was often unrealistically positive.
Ultimately, you have some contest between the white guy, who is the exemplar of the rugged frontiersman on the one hand, and Indians on the other, and the white guy beats him every time. He's better at being an Indian than they are. There's nothing a white man's not better at being than an Indian.
Horrifying pages in the bloody annals of Indian warfare. A vivid recreation, the day when a lost patrol found the garrison of Fort Bowie slaughtered to the last man.
Tomahawk Trail is a classic Western formula. It talks about Indian ferocity. It talks about Apache atrocities. It shows essentially the American Army and American settlers outnumbered and threatened by an overwhelming force of Native Americans.
Never have so few so bitterly avenged the victims of Apache savagery.
It was just the opposite. Historically, we're talking about the Native Americans were overwhelmed by white population and settlement. But for the sake of the motion picture, and unfortunately to perpetuate the image of the savage Native American, history is turned around and modified to suit the formula.
What happened?
They've had their hair cut by Huron barbers.
How can you speak so unfeelingly?
I'm feeling, Miss Monroe. I knew these folks and blazed the trail that brought them here. This is how my parents died, fire and scalping knife.
Thanks to Hollywood, this country refuses to face what happened to Indian people.
It takes a blue coat to make a white man a soldier. But a Cheyenne is a soldier from the first slap on his bottom. War is his life. He's fierce, he's smart. And he's meaner than sin.
And scalps to the Indians, Major, like your medals, and got them by the same means, killing.
By ignoring the Indian and what we have to say, you are dooming your own country. Because there is a saying, a nation that does not know its history has no future.
All right, so, hey man, there was a lot said in that particular video, you know. So, going back real quick, Genesis 49:19, GAD, a troop, shall overcome him, man. And hey, man, we were forced into their religion, their wicked way of life. Okay, we was pretty much forced to forsaken our way of living, just like how during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, he put out a decree that anyone that called him or proclaimed himself to be a Jew, all right, they would be put to death. It was just like that for the Northern Kingdom, all right. Whoever wanted to continue to forsake the Christian way, they were to be put to death, man. And that was a decree that was made by the Europeans on the western side, okay, because they were handling business from over there, you know. We'll read a little bit more of these things here. We'll skip down to 16 right here. 1616. All right. It says a smallpox epidemic decimates the Native American population in New England. It says in May, Virginia's Deputy Governor George Yeardley and a group of men killed 20 to 40 Chickahominy Indians. It was under Yeardley's leadership that friendly relations between the Chickahominy and the colony ended. Right, man. So, you know, you had these damn devils. They came through with these pestilences. They came through with these diseases. All right. The cancer of the earth. What happens when you don't kill a cancer? It spreads throughout the body. And that's the case with Esau, Edom. You know, that's why scriptures talk about if the times weren't sped, that there would be no flesh left to be saved. You know, because the cancer is killed. You know. We'll read a little bit more down here. You know, so we'll read this one here. 1637. It says, in the colony of Massachusetts, the Pequot Indians were the first slaves, but as they would not endure the yoke, they were sent to Bermudas in exchange for Negroes in the hope that the latter would bear slavery more patiently. The first exchange of Indians for Negroes was made in 1637, the first year of the Pequot War, and was doubtless kept up for many years. On May 26, Captains John Mason and John Underhill attacked and burned Pequot forts at Mystic, Connecticut, massacring 600 Indians and starting the Pequot War. On June 5th, English settlers in New England massacred a Pequot Indian village. And that's, you know, it's infuriating, man, just going through these things, which at the end of the day is prophecy needing to be fulfilled, because we read it here, a troop shall overcome him. Okay. And then you had things like the Indian Wars taking place, where you had even our own, you even had, you know, Native Americans going up against Native Americans. All right, we could read a little bit about it here in Wikipedia. It says American Indian Wars, or American Frontier Wars, and the Indian Wars were fought by European governments and colonists in North America, and later by the U.S. and Canadian governments and American and Canadian settlers against various American Indian and First Nation tribes. These conflicts occurred in North America from the time of the earliest colonial settlements in the 17th century until the early 20th century. The various wars resulted from a wide variety of factors. The European powers and their colonies also enlisted allied Indian tribes to help them conduct warfare against each other's colonial settlements. You know, so, you know, like I said, there was a period of time where, you know, some North American Indians, it was just, they joined with the enemy. All right. The scriptures talk about, among my people are found wicked men. Could grab that grab that precept. I think that's in Jeremiah. Let's see. Is that Jeremiah? Jeremiah 5:26. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men. You know. There's another one actually here in First Maccabees. You know, because there's nothing new under the sun. All right, First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So that's exactly what happened, man. Where you had the Europeans, they had all these goods, and the some tribes, the North American Indians, took it upon themselves to, say, fuck my people. I'm liking these goods that they're giving, But just going back here, it says the European powers. So we're gonna start here. The European powers and their colonies also enlisted allied Indian tribes to help them conduct warfare against each other's colonial settlements. After the American Revolution, now just click on that, see what that is, right? The American Revolution was an ideological and political revolution that occurred in British America between 1765 and 1791. The Americas and the 13 colonies formed independent states that defeated the British in the American Revolutionary War from 1775 to 1783, gaining independence from the British Crown, establishing the Constitution that created the USA, the first modern constitutional liberal democracy. So after that American Revolution, the first thing that the 13 colonies were looking to do was to expand westward into lands where you had these North American Indian tribes, man. Okay, and they did not care. They did not care. It was either they killed whoever was in their way, or whoever was in their way had to join them. All right. So it says many conflicts were local. Starting here, it says many conflicts were local to specific states or regions and frequently involved disputes over land use. Some entailed cycles of violent reprisal. So you got here, all right, you got an image, you got runaway Indians. You got the U.S. cavalry. All right. Right. In 1899, chromolithograph of U.S. cavalry pursuing American Indians. All right, the result here. Look at this, from 1609 and 1924. It says sovereignty of various capacities extends a loss, massive indigenous population decline. That, and what happens when, when a population or a what's the word that I'm looking for? All right, when there's a massive decline of a people, then there is no other option than for that people to join into who they're being pursued by. All right, here it is: deportation and forced assimilation of indigenous tribes. Right, man, because you had, you had these North American Indians. They were being taken back to the Western world, man, because you had people on the Western side that had no idea what the people in the New World looked like. When they were getting reports of the actions and what they look like, things of that nature, it actually it fascinated the people in the Western world to the point where there was slaves brought over there, forced assimilation. The cultural assimilation of Native Americans refers to a series of efforts by the U.S. to assimilate Native Americans into mainstream European American culture between the years of 1790 and 1920. George Washington and Henry Knox were first to propose, right? You got George Washington, which is on the American dollar bill, $1 bill, right? Says, in the American context, the cultural assimilation of Native Americans. They formulated a policy to encourage the so-called civilizing process with increased waves of immigration from Europe. There was growing public support for education to encourage a standard set of cultural values and practices to be held in common by the majority of citizens. Education was viewed as the primary method in the acculturation process for minorities. And that's the Americanization process right there, man. As it reads, Americanization policies were based on the idea that when indigenous people learned customs and values of the U.S., they would be able to merge tribal traditions with American culture and peacefully join the majority of the society. After the end of the Indian Wars In the late 19th and early 20th century, the federal government outlawed the practice of traditional religious ceremonies. So it established Native American border schools, which children were required to attend. In these schools, they were forced to speak English, study standard subjects, attend church, and leave tribal traditions behind. All right. And notice how it said it started. They took the children, and that's how you conquer a people. You knock off the men. You take the children and the women. Right? You indoctrinate the children so they grow up to be how you want them to be. You know? So this devil got a lot to pay for, man. You know? He has a whole lot to pay for. So just going back to finish up Genesis 49. And like I said, again, there's so much history to go into. It's impossible to cover it all in just one video. So, you know, like I said, Lord willing, if I remember, I'll drop the links in the description box or the comment board, and you know, you're welcome to do some extensive research. So going back, Genesis 49 and 19, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And what is that talking about? That's talking about the elect of the tribe of Gad waking up in these last days, coming back to who they are, coming back to who their power is. All right, and overcoming. All right, this ties into 2nd Ezra 6, where it talks about Jacob's hand hold the heel of Esau. Okay, this takes place. Matter of fact, get a few precepts here. Hosea 1 and 10 says, "Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, Ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, Ye are the sons of the living power." All right. So here it is. We in the last days, you know, the year 2022, the year of Yahweh Shem Yahshai turning up. You got prophecy, this specific prophecy being fulfilled. Okay. So got another precept. Baruch 2 and 30. I'll start at 29. "If you will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations where I will scatter them." Right. You had things such as the diaspora, okay, that took place. All right. You also had the mingling of nations where you'll have Edomite men lay with Israelite women and vice versa. That's what caused the scattering. Verse 30 says, "For I knew that they will not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people." So yeah, this all happened because of our disobedience. It says, "But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves," starting here in America. It says, "and shall know that I am the Lord their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord." All right. So you got 140. You got Salakia. You got 12,000 Gadites waking up in these last days, and they're gonna do what? They're gonna overcome he that overcame him. Okay. Real quick, just grab this. Habakkuk 2 and 8. "Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, for the violence of the land of the city and all that dwell therein." You know, so man, everybody's gonna destroy America. All right, that's not even the precept that I wanted. That's not the precept that I wanted, Salakia, but that's coming to pass as well. You know, World War III. All right. All the nations are going to just come up against the whore. Now, specifically the Beast, you know, NATO and the EU. They're gonna come up against the Great Whore. The Beast shall hate the whore. Spoiled nations. Probably gonna end it off here. It's a lucky. I'm just looking for the last precept. Yeah. Isaiah 33:1. Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou was not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. All right. So we're just going to read this precept again. Genesis 49:19. GAD, North American Indians, a troop shall overcome him. The U.S. cavalry, but he shall overcome at the last. GAD will stand upon his feet in the last very days, you know, taking part in Jacob grabbing the heel of Esau, and overcome at the last, man. So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom.